Hey world! So, I read Harry Potter and the Cursed Child and I was really disappointed. Not only because of the story itself, but because to me it felt like a total sell-off. Like, it was just this weird combination of like headcanons and what ifs the fandom has created throughout the years, and it just kind of threw them all together and ignored every backstory and every relation and just kind of ticked them off the list somehow. And yeah, I want to talk about that a bit. First of all, like as I said, there was barely any backstory. Of course I get that it's supposed to be like a play and therefore it has to be short, but like, where does Teddy live when he's not at dinner at the Potter's house? And like, how did Draco meet his wife? Who is she? Why is she ill? What's her illness? So we barely get any backstory about like the new characters, and I think that's kind of disappointing because obviously we already know the old characters. We also barely get any backstory about Albus, who is basically the main character of the whole play, and we just know about his relation to his father, to Harry, and that's all we get. And I think it's kind of sad because that's not really what this is about. So it was lacking a lot of that. It was also lacking a lot of logical conclusions in the time travel scenes, because even if Hermione didn't go to the ball with Crumb, and even if one didn't get jealous, then these two obviously are still totally in love. Even in the time travel universes where they're not married, every time they realize they are married in a different universe, they realize they're also in love with each other, or they are still friends and already know they are in love with each other. So it doesn't really make sense that they wouldn't get married just because of that, just because one doesn't get jealous, because it would have happened some other way. As I said, it just felt like ticking off the headcanons the fandom had made. And of course it's interesting to think about it, but just putting it all in one story just doesn't work. And that's also why it felt so rushed to me, because obviously it had to be kept short to fit in the play and to fit in the story, and therefore we just don't have enough time to consider it all. We don't have enough time to really deal with it all. It's just like, okay, now we have this headcanon, then we have this, then we have this, and it's just, as I said, it's like ticking off the list and ticking off everything we want in there. And then if you do everything and a bit of everything, you just don't have the time or the space to do everything or to do anything really, to really consider and to think it through. And therefore there were also some things they just had to force in there, or at least it felt like they were forced in there, like the story that Scorpius could be Voldemort's child, and that there even is Voldemort's child. And in one scene Harry tells Draco like he shouldn't worry because there've been rumors like that forever, and there were numerous people like accused of being Voldemort's child, and that just isn't true. Never during the whole time of the original Harry Potter series was anyone accused of being Voldemort's child. There never was any story of that. So why does it happen now? What's going on there, and why is it Draco's child? Yeah, why? Also, this increased Slytherin hate. I mean, sure, there always was this kind of hatred against Slytherin, but what kind of parent names their child after Severus Snape and then distance themselves and is like, has a problem with them being sorted into Slytherin? That just doesn't make any sense. And it was just so increased, it was so much more like that the whole family distanced themselves from Albus just because he started into Slytherin, that Rose ends their friendship basically. And it's just so unnaturally increased, so yeah, just to make it more dramatic. And that's what I really didn't like, that it was just all so dramatic and so yeah, it was mostly about like creating drama, creating some sort of new plot, because there really wasn't one if you think about it. By changing the time and by going back again, and like they basically erased the whole story again. It was basically like the third X-Men movie. They just erased it. And therefore there isn't really a story. And that also doesn't make sense. I mean, if changing a minor detail in the past can lead to a world where Harry Potter is dead and Voldemort is like the king of everything, then you can't just turn everything back to normal. That just doesn't work. Once you change something in the past, that is changed. Those are my rambly, completely unorganized and really negative thoughts on Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I just wanna make sure that you know that I don't hate J.K. Rowling or the other people working on this. I know they did their best, and I also think there are some really great parts about it, and I won't tell you like you have to think it's bad. It's just my personal opinion, and I wanted to get it out there because there are so many people discussing what they thought about it, and I just thought I'd be part of that discussion. Yeah. Okay, I shall see you next week, and I hope you always have a reason to smile. Goodbye.